Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone.
Um, Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Garima Kohli from IIT Digital Media team, and I'll be the host for today's webinar on the topic assessment, assessment and intervention. Where do variables fit in rehabilitation? With our resource person, Dr. Heta Patel. This webinar is being organized by New Delhi District team. Dr. Ekta Mehta is there with us. The Indian Association of Physiotherapists is the oldest and largest association representing physiotherapists in India since 1955. The IAP Digital Media team consists of a group of physios who handle Zoom platform, webinar, live streaming, and IAP profiles on social media platforms Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Follow IAP profiles on these social media to receive notifications for our events such as webinars, workshops, CMEs, conferences, health camps, blood donation drives, and to know about recent updates on physiotherapy. Subscribe to IAP YouTube channel for notifications of our live webinars. In playlist section of this channel, webinars are segregated into various folders on topics like orthopedics, neurology, sports and fitness, pediatrics, cardiopulmonary, women's health, research, cancer rehab, etc. for easy access. The social media links will be shared in the chat shortly. Thank you so much, and I would like Dr. Ekta Mehta to take over.
Thank you, Dr. Garima. Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to all our participants. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. And we are delighted to have you with us for this webinar. And we hope that you find this today's webinar both informative and inspiring. It is now our great pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Heta Patel, who serves as an assistant professor and head of the Department of Musculoskeletal Sciences at the Ashok and Rita Patel Institute of Physiotherapy, Charusat, Gujarat. Dr. Heta Patel is an accomplished physiotherapist, educator, and researcher with expertise in knowledge translation, early knee pain, preventive musculoskeletal care, the development self assessment tool, and the virtual reality based rehabilitation. She also earned her bachelor's and master degrees in physiotherapy from Sardar Patel University and completed her PhD at Charusat. So, beyond her academic and research contribution, Dr. Heta has taken on numerous leadership roles with Charusat and the Indian Association of Physiotherapists. Also, she is a core committee member of IAP Clinical Practice Guidelines, Pedro representative for South Asia, and a GBD senior collaborator. She also played a significant role in organizing various national physiotherapy conferences and continues to contribute to innovation, research, and professional development in the field. With a passion for advancing evidence based physiotherapy practices and mentoring the next generation of the healthcare professional, we are truly honored to have Dr. Heta with us today. With further, please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt welcome to Dr. Heta. And we also look forward for an insightful and enriching session. So, ma'am, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Ekta ma'am, for this wonderful introduction and some of the things which I also don't know that you have introduced. So thank you for that. Another it might be facing some like issues regarding this like uh, connectivity issue might be facing because right now we have a heavy rainfall at my place. So extremely sorry in advance. So before I do start, I just would like to have gratitude of first I would like to thank to Dr. Ruchi ma'am and Sanjeev Jaswal for providing us this platform. And also, I would like to extend my thank you to Nidhi ma'am, Ekta ma'am, and Garima ma'am for providing a platform for conducting this sort of really an advancing talk because wearable devices nowadays it is in a like recent trends that we can talk to our future generation. So definitely we'll have a sort of interactive session. Not I'm not going to have the long session again. We'll have interactive session more, right? So before I proceed, I also would like to share my screen. Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's
I'll
up.
do in the
It's up.
yeah, yes. So like let me introduce my today's topic first. I think many of you over here are clinicians are also there, academicians are also there, and researchers are also there. So those who are interested and keen interested, that they have joined. So thank you all the attendees who have joined. Another let's have one thing, that assessment versus intervention. Right. So here, I can say that years ago, rehabilitation is always evolved alongside for innovation, and I can surely say that the wearable devices are the recent trend innovations as well. Our clinical decisions relied on most of entirely on our observations, the experiences, and the standardized outcome measures. Right, but in the today's technological era, it allows us to see the movements in way that we can even before we are imagined only, right? So that is specifically like this decade is specifically providing the hands for whatever the imaginations are there, that we can see, that we can visualize as well. Right. So wearable devices are becoming increasing a common, not just in our homes, but also in our clinics as well. So when it talks about wearable device, we always had in our mind about that Apple Watch, right? Even the Fitbit watch, that is the first comes in our mind, right? So that sort of wearable devices which we are using in our daily routines as well, not in specifically for assessment and intervention, we can talk, right? So this variables are simply measuring the our like day-to-day vitals that we are using, and even more depth we are using it for measuring our calories, right? Even it is being used for like routine day-to-day practice we are using. So, rather than delivering on one-way lecture, I would also like to have some interactive sessions. So, first, I would like to start with a very simple question to everyone. You can write in a chat box, or you can unmute yourself. We will allow you to talk, right? So, how many of you are using or wearing and wear smart watches or the fitness band right now? Let's see how many of you right now you have used. Purvi, my sound is echoing. Right now, is it clear?
Yeah, your sound is perfectly fine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So, okay. Thank you, Purvi. Mridala Sup is wearing. Parthiv Kar is also wearing. Yes. And many are writing in the chat box. So wonderful. You are wearing and you are here as well. Yeah. So now let me ask you another question. How many of you believe that this device is actually improving your health, or or you are using it just for a recording? So you are analyzing it, your day-to-day data. Once again, I'm repeating this question. How many of you are believing that this device is actually improving your health? It is not just for recording it. Were we saying that it is for recording? Yes. Any other? We have 60 participants, so anyone on YouTube as well. So how many like you can share the things. Meanwhile, Ikram, please see that if anyone is replying on YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
Mridula Sudhir is saying that recording and analyzing both. Yes, absolutely. That's an interesting. Now, those who are not replying and for those who have replied, for that, please remember your answer, because by the end of this session, I hope you will view that device in completely different way, and not merely a fitness gadget, but also as a potential clinical partner in your rehabilitation. Right. So let's begin with that. First, yeah. So let's understand about the rehabilitation cycle. Rehabilitation has and traditionally been divided into two major components, right? And that's why we are using it versus over here. But again, they both are equally important: assessment and intervention. Assessment will tell you where the patient is, right? So how you can have it that you identify the impairments, measures the functions, establish the baseline, and monitor your progress. While intervention will help you to determine where the patient can go, right? So in that you can restore the functions, you can reduce the disability, you can improve the participations, and even you can prevent the complications. So traditionally, what we can have traditional rehabilitation path is first we are using assessment, then diagnosis, then we do the goal setting, then you will have the interventions, and then we can have the reassessment, right? So today in this wearable technology, for today in this wearable technology is begin to blur the boundaries between this two stage. So throughout this session, I will invite you to think critically and about one question, that is, where do the variables truly fit, whether it is into intervention or whether it is into the assessments, right? So and the end of the this interactive session, we'll have the question answer, and this time I'll ask the question, you will answer, right? Okay, so that's about your assessment and intervention. Next is about defining this wearable technology. So when you define the technology at that time, when someone mentioned about the wearables technology, most of the people immediately think that about this wearables which can be worn at wrist or at ankle or at your at any like trunk side for a like electromyography or something like that, right? So these are the specific sites where you can measure where and which are the variables which can be useful for this variable for the at the body work, right? So variables are body worn technologies capable for continuous physiological parameters, biometrics, and even the muscle activity. Which examples of this I have quoted down here? So that are smartwatches, IMUs, then surface EMG sensors, and even the pressure sensitive insoles are also there. Smart garments that you can include, and even you can include the health rate monitors as well. Now, the greatest advantage of using is instead of observing the patients for 15 minutes in an OPD, we can now observe their functional activity and performances throughout the entire day and in their natural environment, right? So this will a very significant shift into our clinical practice. Why I can say this? Because like if you will have the entire day throughout the data, so that that can be analyzed. Even we can have that because sometimes patients tells us but that we cannot observe in that our 15 or 20 or 40 minutes of interaction with the patients, right? So that we can verify, and with that we can correlate as well for to reaching this better and improvised diagnosis. Now, there are certain types of variables which we can use, and over here it has been giving you an idea what it measures and which are the clinical applications, right? So let's start with an IMUs, which tells you about how the body moves, right? That can be used for a joint movement, and so it can be for use for gait analysis that you can use. Next is about pressure insoles, accelerometers, gyroscopes, surface EMGs, ECGs, PPGs, smart clothing, right? So when we talk about this pressure insoles, they will tell you how the force are distributed during the walking. When we talk about EMG sensors, they will talk about like what is the specific muscle activity, or your muscles are how much percentage or how much portion of muscles are activated, right? Even the smart watches, which provide an information about the physical activity. Even it also tells you about the cardiovascular responses as well, right? And the smart garments, which can help you to for measuring your posture and movements. Rest all you are aware about that, but not a single device will answer your clinical question or clinical query. That will let you know, or that will guide you further, right? So as being a clinician or as being an academician, selecting the right technology is just as important or as interesting, which is information is provided. So this is very useful, but at the same time, you also should know where to use and when in which patients it can be utilized. Now, the variables in assessment will say that for mobility, what we are supposed to use, so that gait, step length, cadence, and symmetries, right? So this traditionally we rely on the observations, right? Step length and all, right? But observation is again it is a subjective manner. So this will help you to provide an objective or observation kind of, right? Next is for a balance, for balance, what you guys are supposed to analyze that postural sway, stability, weighing distributions. For activity, you can have it daily steps, physical activity, sedentary behaviors, and for physiological, that is your vitals, that are heart rate, oxygen saturation, sleep quality, right? So these are being used, but patients, this instead of saying that the patients are walking that appears on better. Now you can see that patient's walk or patient speed is this much, or patient is improvised from this speed to this speed, from this step length to this one, that you can talk about. So this provides you an evidence while your clinical practice and a precise objective measurements. So this actually this will shift a major shift into and transform the clinical impressions into a measurable outcomes. So this is specifically give the confidence and beyond this clinical wall that we can have it. Next is about clinical applications. So where you can have it. So let's make this some more practical, right? So in this, imagine your patients having the stroke, right? Cerebrovascular attack, right? And IMU attached to the ankle and measures the gait symmetry. Another is Parkinson patient who wore and sensors that detect the freezing episodes, right? Following to total knee replacements, wearable sensors which can monitor the movement throughout the patient recovery. Another is for cardiac rehabilitation, which can where you can use the smart watches to ensure the exercises are being doing into intensity to measure that intensity, and even that also measures the specific prescribed heart rate in that zone, right? Next is about in older adults. So actively monitoring, identifying whether there is a fall is detectable or not, right? So by saying this or giving the example will give you a curiosity, right? So these are the thing. These are the listed applications where you can use it, and I have given some more like examples, clinical applications as well. So that becomes and simply gives in better information for a better decision if you are using it, right? Next is variables in intervention that you can use it. So from intervention to treat. So from monitoring to treating. Now we can view like specifically if we can shift from beyond the measurement. So imagine that every time a patient shifts the weight bearing incorrectly during walking, and we always like ask a patient, or we always instruct a patient that you need to shift on this side, or you're on a right leg or left leg. So rather than that, if you have simple the vibrate the device which can vibrate, so that gives a real time feedback to a patient, right? So and it will boost the patient, that even specifically it can be like give the feedback so which can help a patient to properly manage their gait, right? So that's from giving a feedback, that's from monitoring, that it is monitored, and the vibration and patient improvise, so that's your intervention. So from examination to intervention, it can help you. So basically, real-time biofeedback, which can provide you visual cues, then auditory alerts and vibratory feedback, and when delivered during the movement. Again, that can help you for a remote rehabilitation, which is basically right now a need in India for a geriatric rehabilitation. The home exercise, supervised exercise, even adherence of tracking, then remote progress monitoring, which can help you for for a remote rehabilitation or for a tele rehabilitation as well. So that can gradually leads to smart therapies, right? So this is basically EMG trigger stimulations, functional electrical stimulation, adaptive exercise. All this can also help you and make you no longer a passive observer. So that can involve you and actively in the rehabilitation. It's and even the patients and the participants as well. Now like us, so by this by this you can get to know this it is not an only it is helpful for assessment or intervention. So it is an overlap, right? Overlap means at the same time you can use it for assessment, and at the same time you can use it for intervention to train the patients as well. So assessment asks that what happens, what is happening, right? And intervention will ask you how we can improvise it. So assessment will measure the performance, intervention will improvise the performance. It identifies the impairments, it will reduce this impairments. It will objectively collect the data, intervention will provide the therapeutic interventions, right? So where do the variable fit? So it fits at the both the side. It continuously collect the data while improving the real-time biofeedback and provides the motivation. So that's your includes assessment as well as intervention. So that rather than choosing on one side for the wearable technology, uh, you can connect with assessment as well as interventions into one continuous process. So, what evidence tells about this? So the research consistently gives or demonstrate in that recent of if we'll see this 5 years of advancements and the evidences which provided by various articles. There are specifically 7 articles into for the variables for rehabilitation and assessment. So that 7 articles which provides the consistency and demonstrating the excellent validity for variables based gait assessment, right? It also provides the meta-analysis reports, which is improvement in gait speed, balance, mobility, and exercise adherence when variables are used for biofeedback in incorporated with the rehabilitation. Even for cardiac rehabilitation studies also shows that improved exercise capacity through the wearables and guided home programs. Although there is a larger clinical trials are still needed, so here it is an evidence gap which you also can help or provide conducting a study. You can provide the evidences to the and support this thought of from intervention to rehabilitation. Technology will provide the data, evidence provides the confidence. So that's why it is important. Whether you are a clinician, whether you are academician, or whether you are working or you wanted to enhance your skill. So here it's important to conduct such kind of studies, which is helping you, which provides you the confidence, right, for using this wearable devices. So how we can conduct this sort of studies? So here the clinical reasoning, which remains a deciding factor, whether you wanted to use it or not. So in this, let's have one example. A patient who have recovering from stroke undergoes a gait assessment using the wearable sensors, right? And the assessment identifies asymmetrical walking and reduce the speed. For the next, the patient receives real-time feedback for the gait during the therapies, and it also continues wearing the devices during the home exercise as well. So if we'll see that 6 weeks later, the objective improvements are documented, which you can have it, right? And the same variable assessed the problem, guided the treatment, and you can measure the recovery. So this is, I think, it's a perfect example for variable bridging the assessment and intervention. So from initial assessment, active intervention, and providing the reassessment that can one device which can serve the entire rehabilitation cycle. Uh, Now, why it is important to integrate the variables? So why should physiotherapist care about that? So healthcare is becoming increasing data driven, right? So here I have put it some more visualizations that can help you where you can use it and where you can integrate it. So here, it provides an accurate data driven measurement, replacing the subjective assessment for an objective, for objective, uh, subjective estimates for objective assessment. It also provides a continuous tracking that provides a patient motivation, and which will also help in personalized therapy, telerehabilitation, and it also in our day-to-day clinical practice is also help to outcome documentation. So again, here most importantly, this helps to makes us the clinical decision better, not like replacing our expertise, right? So that's why it is important to amplify the expertise or to have the demonstrate the expertise into this as well. Now, many more aspects which are there, which is specifically talking about pros, like cons of using these variables. So in that, major challenges and ethical consideration. So these challenges are there, right? But it should not be like we need to look for device cost and accuracy, right? Because it provides a data, but again, cost is higher aside. So that implementing to a community, which might be a questionable, right? Next is data overload for clinicians, right? So right now, but again, it will improvise the our practice. Next is battery limitations are also there. Another is patient's compliance and digital literacy, which is must require. So ethical issues which are being noted down in our previous studies, which are data privacy, Then data privacy in terms of you are monitoring and you are tracking those data. That's why. And the cybersecurity, the patient consent, and regularity in approvals. So it's a must and mandatory to address these concerns and the challenges before you are using. So technology should support, not to replace the clinical reasoning once again. That's an major interactive for this interaction. Next is physiotherapy, future for physiotherapy technology. So yeah, you can see in last decades what is being improving. Last even in last 5 years, it is must requirement for this. So from shifting from artificial intelligence, that are AI assisted assessments and predictive rehabilitation algorithms. From that, looking ahead to creating digital twins, that is creating personalized, continuous adapting exercise prescriptions, smart clothing, unobstructive and continuous remote monitoring that woven into daily life. Again, remote clinic, that are the rise of comprehensive digital rehabilitation platforms. So it is the technology will continue evolving, but again, it is but compensate. To compensate, evidence-based physiotherapy will remain at the center for the patient care. No, now where do variables are there, right? So it is specifically bridging the gap between the assessment and intervention, which provides a seamless continuous cycle for care. That is ultimate thought to. So basically, now let's return to our original question, that where do variables fit in rehabilitation? Where do variables fit? Since the answer is simple, it is not begin with it begins with the assessment tool for a guided and then it guides the intervention, and it also monitor the outcome. So that's where it specifically it will specifically support the long term follow up as well. And the variables are not just in conform to one stage rehabilitation, but it is also creating and connecting with every stage. So it's a continuous loop that we can have it. So from this, let's conclude. I told you before that you should have one question which is completely change your mind, right? It is assessment versus intervention. No, it is along the assessment alongside intervention. Technology will never replace the hands of skilled physiotherapist. So whether but again, the skilled physiotherapist needs to improvise the skill and need to be handed to be handy with this technology. So use this technology wisely once again, because it was when you are using it, if you have to, you should know whenever you are using it. Earlier, I've given an example that you are using the Fitbit belt. So you are using for tracking or for your rehabilitation. So when if you are using for recording, Purvi is using for recording, but it is not just recording. You have to also monitor that whether it is improvised or whether it is decreased, right? So that analysis is only we can do this on analysis, and that question needs to be arised while you're using this sort of wearable devices. So yeah, so that's all. These are my takeaways. And yeah, wearables do not. Once again, I'm repeating this. Wearables do not replace the physiotherapist. They empowers the physiotherapist to deliver smarter, data-driven patient care and patient-centered rehabilitation. So if you have any question, we are open, I think, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It is open. If they want to ask any question, they can ask also, or they can write it in the chat box.
There's one question in the chat box. So, Dr. Heta, there is some questions in the chat box like, should we totally dependent on wearable gadgets, or what about the errors in the measurement?
Okay, so thank you. It's an interesting question, and it is actually a relatable one as well. So basically, my answer to this is straight away no, because patients should not be totally depend on wearable gadgets. They should, which is specifically used for supporting the tool, not substitute for a clinical judgment. So it is not advisable that wearables which you are using that helpful for monitoring the activity, improving the adherence of rehab program, and it also help to providing the real-time feedback, right? But they cannot replace the clinical assessment, not the functional evaluation, and the patient reported symptoms. So, as a physiotherapist, I suggest you ready to know the context of matter more than raw numbers. But again, you need to have that variables are needs to be they needs to be accurate enough. But at the same time, you should know that how to handle it as well, because sometimes error also occurs, right? So once again, it is so my question to this is no. You need to have patients should not be totally depend on the wearable gadgets. They should support the tool, not substitute the clinical judgment.
Okay, so this was
I
Rahul's
hope I
question.
have cleared your doubt, Rahul. Right?
So the another question is from Sana Sahin, and what about the accuracy of the variables?
Sana, I just would like to share the things that there are various types of variables are available, right? Now, regarding accuracy, when someone is developing those at the time, in this process of development of these variables, basically it is not just in gathering the different parts and they make the variables. So for that specifically, the pilot testing has also been done before things. So this is specifically when it is being developed at that time, we need to look for the reliability, validity, accuracy. Basically, accuracy is most important, and the use of generalizability. So whenever you like talking about this accuracy, the different variables have the different accuracy. So it's not it cannot be answerable into one, right? And even the brand wise accuracy also changes, because the use of gyroscope, the use of accelerometer, the material and everything is it depends on that. I hope you I am I'm clear from my side, and it is understood, right?
Yeah, it is very well explained. Yeah, so the next question is, we have two questions in the chat box. One is Purvi. So she's asking, do physios require to advise patients using wearable during rehab?
Here it is advised means like once again it is advised. I can say that rather than that it is useful. The variables are useful for your rehabilitation. So whenever it is needed, right? Like saying I have given example of cardio rehabilitation. So it is mandatory to wear this throughout the day. So you can monitor into a into that daily activity, right? So whenever it requires, you need to use it. Once again, it is a decision, clinical decision of with the whenever you are seeing the patient, right? And again, it is depends on the like our major challenges, affordability now. So that also you need to look for. And once again, it is individual choice of a physiotherapist that whether they wanted to use or not, based on the challenges, based on the ethical issues, and based on the like patients as well. Patients is most important. Patient feedback is most important while you are using.
Okay. So one another question is like, are wearables suitable for home-based rehabilitation? Or what is the biggest limitation of wearable technology in rehabilitation?
Yes, it is used thoughtfully when they are very suitable. So they fit especially well with the telerehabilitation and self-managed care or the remote places rehabilitation, right? Basically, it will help for the home-based rehabilitation for adherence of this exercise by providing a motivation. So it provides the reminders, goals, and progressive feedback. It also provides activity monitoring, and it also provides remote follow-up as well. So thereby you can increase the patient engagement as well into telerehabilitation, which is a major in telerehabilitation. Patient engagement and adherence to exercise is a major challenge. So with this variable, you can like use you can improvise the consistency of using this, right, and doing for exercises. So absolutely, you can. It is very suitable for the home exercises. But the biggest limitation in a single word, if I have to say that, the accuracy and the clinical validity of the data, because very less evidences are available, right? And data is always in whatever the data are given that are estimated, actually, which is not done directly measured as well. So while going for a directly measurement might be some error which increases like exercise of movement, slow or abnormal gait or advice in the placement issues. So these are the errors which are being there. So that's why it is the whatever the data are available that are limited accuracy they have. So that's the clinical takeaway. If you also can take from this question that wearables are valuable in home-based exercise for monitoring and motivation, but like I can say that their limitation in accuracy and inability to capture the clinical context, which remains a major constraint requiring to for interpretation by a clinician. So it is, yes, that's the thing that you can have it.
Okay. So we have two last questions of the day in the chat box. One is like how digital twin concept is useful, and another is how do you convert variable data into clinical decisions? So there are
Okay,
two questions.
I would first go with the question from Deep. Then thereby I can give you the answer. In that only I can answer this Archit as well.
Sure.
Yes. So how do the you convert the variables into a clinical data? Yeah. So see, there is variables are there, but that needs to be connected through using this IMUs and which are being available, right? Another is it is not just in like whatever the data you are getting. Like let's say example of total knee replacement. So total knee replacements. After that, you need to give the patients to variables which can help to stride length, step length, and all, right? So this data, that stride length and step length, you will get it into some an average form, right? So in the day or in the evening time, whatever the stride length and step length or patients, how much patient walk, right? So that you are that you got. Now, based on this, what you can have it, you can prepare your decision that patient had a walk of this, patient can able to do this. Now you need to improvise. So now you need to have the goal setting, how you can improvise and which are the other thing that you can include. So this is how your variable data will help you to make you to make you a goal setting, and so that basically a clinical decisions, right? And regarding this twin concept, digital twin concept, that is your like digital twin is in virtual mode of patient. So there is a mirrors are there for real time feedback. Even sometimes mirrors are not being used, but the this like cameras are being used. That what and that is specifically, I think it is for leaving the simulation of the patient. So that is a concept of digital twin. So which can help you to observe the patient, and then you can make a tailored based exercise program, right? So I think both of the questions are being answered from this example.
Yeah. So I think Q&A round is done. So as we come to end the today's webinar, like I, Dr. Ekta, on behalf of IAP and IAP Women's Cell both, would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, that is Dr. Heta, for delivering such an insightful and inspiring session, ma'am. And ma'am,
Thank you,
thank you
ma'am.
for sharing your valuable knowledge, expertise, and insights with us. Your passion for evidence-based physiotherapy and your dedication to advancing the profession have truly inspired us a lot. And we sincerely appreciate the time and effort you took to be with us today, and despite being in your busy schedule. So it's been an honor to learn from you today. And I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to all our participants for joining and making it very interactive. That we can see your enthusiastic presence, active participation, and the thoughtful engagement made this webinar a meaningful and a success event. And we hope you found this session informative as well, and that you will be able to apply this knowledge gained in your academic and the professional practice both. So, last but not the least, a special note of thanks goes to IAP Digital team for their excellent planning, technical and seamless coordination in organizing today's webinar, especially Dr. Garima. Your behind the scenes efforts ensured that this session was conducted very smooth and reached the participations very successfully. So once again, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Heta, our wonderful audience again, and the IAP Digital team for making today's webinar a memorable learning experience. So we look forward to welcoming you all again for our future webinars also. Until then, stay